couple weeks. That's going to be absolutely epic. Trump invited Vladimir Putin to the G20. That's huge. Then kind of domestically, indictments are absolutely coming. Josh talk a long time. Josh talk a long time. Josh talk very long time. And then we have the third attempted assassination attempt on President Trump's life this last weekend. Oh my God! I mean, we can't forget that one, right? And all the conspiracies flying in and around it, and then there's some influencer stuff that we're going to talk about as well. But man, it's been eventful, but not like right out there like holy shit. I think this week's going to be the holy shit.
Yeah, or maybe we're just getting callous, bro.
Yeah.
Our baseline for what we consider news. It's probably you had was it North Dakota? You had a representative that died in a plane crash.
Yeah, and there might be some more information coming out on that.
Yeah, I haven't even had a chance to look into that one. But I mean, still,
there's a conspiracy behind all of this of connectivity in North Dakota to a defense contractor. And I know the person.
I got to interrupt, Josh. We have someone in the chat, Claire Cat. We're familiar with Claire Cat, longtime supporter. Says Alpha's dissing the Mountain Time Zone. Mountain Time Zone doesn't exist, all right? All right. All you mountain people, make a decision. Be Pacific, be Central. Come on. Go ahead, Josh.
I forgot what I was going to say because I was thinking about mountain time range.
There's a legitimate conspiracy going on behind the plane crash.
Right. And it involves a defense contractor and a lot of other things, contracts. It ties back to Bergrum, the governor. And I know the person who's been exposing this, and multiple people have died who are connected and associated with this conspiracy. So I will reach out to the person I know that's connected with this and maybe see if they want to come on, maybe anonymously or not, and discuss and talk about it. But it is something very real that's going on there. And I'm curious if the representative that died is connected to this. So that was interesting. What else did we have this week?
Oh, let's see.
Right. Drawing blanks.
Yeah, I'm drawing blank.
well, the calls. I heard that Kash Patel is going to get fired next. So it was Tulsi Gabbard. Now it's Kash Patel.
Yeah. I got like 40 tabs open for tomorrow's show that I got to start eliminating them. And I'm just like, what stories do we have? Let's do this. Let's get to our amazing ads and sponsors. And then when we come back on the other side of this, we'll get the ball rolling with the attempted assassination on President Trump that happened at the media ball. We'll break that down for you guys in a fashion I think you guys will like. I think you guys will definitely hear a perspective that I don't think you've heard at least very much of. And we'll go from there because we do got some drops that we want to talk about tonight, since it is a Q show after all. So folks, again, introduce everybody to yourselves. Do us a solid, smash the thumb, hit the heart, share. Let's get this audience pumping. We're a little over 2,300 people watching on Rumble, and we got to get these other channels popped out there. So let's start off with our first amazing sponsor. You've heard them before on this show. We're in the middle of the worst stretch of data breaches this country has ever seen, and it's hitting right in the middle of tax season. In just the last 90 days, a government contractor that handles Medicaid and benefits for 46 states got hacked. 25 million Americans had their social security numbers and medical records stolen. The Texas AG called it the largest breach in American history. Panera Bread, 5 million customers exposed. Under Armour, 72 million email addresses dumped online, all atop a record of 3,300 data breaches in 2025 alone. Here's why you need to care right now. Criminals have been using your data to file fake tax returns in your name and then take your refund. The IRS flagged 2 million returns for identity fraud last year, and if it happens to you, the average wait time to get it resolved is almost 2 years. And it's not just breaches. Right now, data brokers and people search sites are publishing your name, your home address, your phone number, and your family members' names, all searchable by anyone online. Scammers don't need to hack you. They just need to look you up. Patriot Protect fixes that. Their search and destroy protocol scans Google and over 200 data broker sites, finds your personal information, and then removes it continuously. Most services tell you that your identity gets stolen. Patriot Protect removes the information criminals need to steal it in the first place. Because of what we're seeing right now, Patriot Protect is offering you 15% off any plan. Use promo code Badlands at patriot-protect.com/Q after hours. Your data is already out there. Take it back. Again, you'll see that on the screen below. And also, folks, catch episode 2 of America First Stories on Badlands Media to learn more about this awesome group. And then our next one, and it's back to the show. We'll see you on the other side.
Science proves that a healthy immune system is the body's first defense against the smallest of ailments to the most catastrophic. Coriolus versicolor is the most sought-after, all-natural supplement for both humans and pets to help boost the immune system. There are over 400 studies worldwide on its effectiveness in humans, including Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and now from the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine. Together, we can help reverse this terrible tide now plaguing your loved ones and give them the immune-boosting supplements that they need.
That's badlandsmedia.tv/Pet Club. Folks, I got something to say about Pet Club real quick, Josh. I know you might have something too. You guys went ape shit. When we had them on DEF CON, and it brought my heart joy, because I know it's all of you, especially for the first time that you're going to be trying Pet Club, stand by. I had a bunch of messages from people saying, what's the protocol you do? I take them all, like literally all 4 bottles is what I take. Well, there's 5 if you count the green, but the yellow is essentially the green, but it has reishi in it. But for tonight, I want to give you guys a little tip. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But what makes this dude right here so smart is these. It's these. All right, it's not. Josh is already smart, but I'm telling you guys, if you remember the movie Limitless, this.
Hold on. It's not those mushrooms. It's these ones.
It's just no.
Hey.
But if you guys remember the movie Limitless, this is our real, not sci-fi variety of that. Brain function, nervous system, stomach, and colon. But one of the other positive things people have seen from this is the loss of weight. Rule of thumb is typically 1 pill per 50 pounds. If you're actually battling something and you want it to be more aggressive, then obviously you would take more, and you can reach out to myself or Josh to get our opinions, not medical advice, but our opinions on, what we think. So again, you guys keep trying them. And then as you start to notice results, whether you're dealing with cancers, tumors, skin diseases, whatever the case is, leave it in the comments. Let people know this stuff works. You're laughing. What did I miss? Oh,
I just quoted you in the chat.
Oh, what'd you put?
Alpha Warrior pinions.
Pinions. All right.
Opinions. Opinions. Not pinions.
Opinions. So I'm just pumped, man. I'm pumped because I know what they've done for my life. I know what they've done for my family. I know what they've done for my friends. And, I mean, you both know the stories around there. So anyways, enough pumping up the people that, keep us afloat. Here's my issue to start with. And hold on, let me add something to the screen. There we go. Now we got Patriot Protect there on the screen as well.
Oh, they're asking what those shrooms that I pulled up. Oh, those might just be some psilocybin mushrooms.
Listen, folks. All right.
Medicinal.
I'm telling you, man. If I was still a detective, I'd be putting cases on all you motherfuckers.
It's decriminalized here in Minnesota. You can do it. I think.
Shoot program.
I didn't really check the law. I just said it. Oh, man. Okay.
I'll tell you what, man. Hanging out with some of these Badlands folks, I was like, I'd arrest you. We'd be doing surveillance on you. I'd have a wiretap there.
So Alpha is actually speaking the truth right now. He's not like he's actually a federal agent who's just keeping tabs on people, acting as the invisible handler to people. In case anybody was wondering. The X world is gonna blow up on that one. Like, I knew it. Oh my god.
About this,
DD's going to come out with a research article next week. Alpha is a federal agent.
Soft disclosure.
No
pun intended. So here's my beef, man. And I've had friends. I even even one of my cousins who's Gone a little bit off the deep end. Still love them. Shout out. I know you're watching, Fernie. People coming out and saying that this shooting is
fake and staged,
and all that. And the first thing I'm going to say is, you're basing that off what? You watched a couple John Wick movies. Maybe you've seen some stuff on TV, NCIS. First 48. What experience do you have to make that assessment? What experience do you have watching closed circuit TV surveillance or any surveillance regarding shootings? How many shootings have you been in? Have you ever shot a freaking firearm? And the vast majority, I would say, 99 out of 100 of the people that are making the assessments have zero background for that. So what are you comparing it to? That's where I'll start off with. People, and I'm going to bring it up. Let me do this. Man, hold on. I think there was a better one that I saw on the, here we go. Let me bring up the closed circuit TV surveillance that we're seeing. And here we go. So let me set this up first. So one of the comments, that I hear a lot of people making, and I'm telling you, I'm going to piss some of you off in the chat. So,
let's do it. Yeah. So I'm right there with you too, by the way.
So trigger warning. I am going to test your emotions tonight, right? Some of you that I love Alpha, you're going to be pissed off with Alpha tonight. And then you'll be like, I'm Team Josh. And then that's when Josh is going to piss you off. You guys are just listen. Remember the movie Friday? Smokey. Quit playing with my emotions. Your emotions going to get played with tonight. So the first thing to address here is, people saying, oh my gosh, the video footage is so grainy. It's because it's a cell phone recording off of a monitor to begin with. And people would say, well, why not just put the original video out? Because you don't just grab it and post it. There's a chain of custody involved with evidence. This video is evidence. Which is, kind of surprises that they put it out. But hey, boss wants it out. He's the president, right? But you got to have people that come in that have the authority to grab it, download it into whatever device it's going to be developed into. And you got to create that chain of custody because this is going to be something that's used in court against the suspect. So one, you're just seeing someone that's, using their phone to do a recording of a recording. So there's that issue, first of all. So I'm going to play it one time. And then after that, I'll provide my commentary on it. So here we go. I'm going to kill the audio just because we don't need to hear the people recording's background noise.
And Trump is the one that posted this for everybody out there, and Trump wanted this released. He's the one that posted this. He's probably the one that recorded on his cell phone. So
he probably is, bro. Where's Scavino? So first thing is my assessment here. Outstanding job. This is textbook grade A+. If I'm a detective and I'm given this and I'm being told, hey, grade these officers and how they responded to this scenario, I'm checking every box. Do they handled it with absolute perfection? What are you talking about, Alpha? He breached the area. One, there's a lot of people out there, Josh, that are saying, I can't believe that they were able to do an attempt. You cannot stop an attempt. First of all, everybody get that through your head. The whole reason to develop an operational plan is because people might want to do something. And so you create these layers that somebody has to work through. The first layer collapses, you got a second layer collapses, you got another one. Fire off, brother.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to say is I saw a lot of big accounts out there saying that this was the worst security they've ever had, and it was a complete breakdown of Secret Service, and these people should be fired. I mean, I'll name one, Sarah Adams and a few other people like this. And I'm sitting there going, what are you talking about? This was like textbook response by the Secret Service. Number one, they're like, well, why didn't he tackle him? Why didn't they tackle him? Like, you don't know if that dude has a bomb or what he has on him.
I'll address that too as when I get there. Here's a question, not to pick on Zemanis one, but Zemanis one put it out there, and he's not the only one. I've heard this from a lot of people. Alpha, you're missing the total lack of perimeter security. So you've seen the operational plan for perimeter security? People are making these statements and clueless. You got to remember, this is a hotel. And one of the things people have, because I've actually planned these operations, so I actually know what the hell I'm talking about here, is when you have a situation, like for instance, we have a lot of presidents that would come into Southern California, a lot of these golf courses. You don't just get to shut down the gate into these gated communities where people actually live. You'll have it shut down as, the caravan, comes through, and as it leaves, you'll have it shut down, but that's momentarily. You don't shut it down the entire time because people live there. Maintenance workers are coming and going. There's still an active thing. Well, that same thing's happening with the hotel. Is there are still people that people have to move freely. Now you'll have certain parts where you'll have people that are at points, but here's the thing. There is not one operation, there's not one event that any president has ever done where you can't attempt to breach.
Right. And also on the perimeter, if I can say, what people need to see is like right behind these guys are doors going out. So this is the event area of the hotel, and this is obviously in a ballroom. If you look to the left of the image, that is a security checkpoint, and what he actually ran through was the magnometer. This is the magnetic place that you go through the check for weapons and guns. And people are asking, well, how did he get into the hotel? He was a guest there. He stayed there overnight, and then he was still in the hotel. And what he did is he went through all of the back ballrooms, got into a ballroom, went through the back ballrooms, and then went through the dining area into that area. And that's where he had to come out. He couldn't go any further. He couldn't go into the other ballroom. He could only go to this access point, and that's when he ran and jolted. So people are like, well, why didn't they get him at the door? Because he was already in the hotel.
There's a thing called momentum. That's what it is. It's just like when vehicles, when they ram through a barricade, that's where you have secondary defense systems. It is something we do with the military. This is something definitely that does with law enforcement, specifically when you're doing dignitary protection, VIP protection, whatever the case may be. But anyways, like I said, there's lots of perimeter security. You have surveillance TV that's going on. You have plainclothes people that are working. Point being is when you have a bad guy that wants to recon and find the area that's the soft target to breach, there's nothing you can do to stop that. What your job is to minimize it, and then in that threat, once that breach is made, that's why these people get paid. Now, what I want you guys to pay attention to is, and I want you guys to just watch the initial reaction of all the law enforcement that's here. So you already know the shooter is going to come running through. So I don't want your eyes to focus on the shooter. Focus on the officers, and I want you guys to just remember their reaction, because this is what I'm going to talk about in a second. So here comes shooter running through.
And correct me if I'm wrong, he had his gun out and he shot the one officer on this side, right?
Yeah, bottom left.
Yeah, so he runs through, shoots, and then goes. Yeah.
Now, what I want everybody to pay attention to here, right here, is think of all the news release, school shootings that we've seen, mall shootings we've seen, all these shootings where you see cops engage, the Las Vegas shooting. So many of you seen those videos. Your street level law enforcement, your beat cops, and this is not a shot on them. I love law enforcement. You guys know that. And I was a beat cop. But when you see these, what do you see these beat cops do when the round starts going boom, 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 boom? They duck. They look for what they've been trained to do, cover or concealment or both. That's what they're looking for. Then they could deal with a threat. There's nothing wrong with that response. Here's where I'm telling you, grade A law enforcement training, the best of the best. Not one of these guys did that. Not one of these law enforcement officers, whether it be Secret Service, U.S. Marshals, or a combination thereof, not one of them moves to cover and concealment. Every single one of them's immediate reaction was to draw and address the threat.
Yep.
The second I saw that, I was like, these fucking dudes are badass. Because I've been in shootings. I've been in 4 shootings as a cop, not counting the military. Just 4 shootings as a cop where the bad guy is shooting at me, I'm shooting at the bad guy. The fact that these guys had that response that's impeccable training. So now that I brought that to your guys' attention, I'm going to rewind this so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about.
And by the way, go back a little bit. Go right before he's past that table. Look at the guy on the left-hand side right here. Watch how fast this guy pulls. See how his gun's already out? So he's watching this area. He sees the guy running, pulls his weapon immediately. I think that's where he gets shot in the chest. And I'm surprised he didn't shoot him. Maybe he did. Maybe this is where the 5 shots go off. Boom, 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 right there.
Here's why I think he probably didn't take the shot, because this is a moving target at a very high rate of speed.
Yeah.
And he's looking at, one of the things that we're responsible is every time we fire a bullet, we got to know exactly what's on the other side of that.
Correct.
Because we have to answer those questions. What was the backdrop? And I think he immediately sees that. And it's just like, so really not until about right here does he have kind of that clear, because you've got to remember to the right of the screen here is more cops. But he's also had to be very conscious of what's on the other side of these windows out here. So, that this is another thing people have to recognize. This is a building full of people.
Yeah. And
these cops were able to address the threat with not hitting one civilian or any blue on blue firing.
Now, answer the question then. Why is this guy not full of holes? Because I saw someone on Rumble ask this question. Why isn't this guy just get shot and killed like we saw the Minnesota protesters that charge people with vehicles and all this stuff? And the reason I would say is training.
100%. And
different training, completely different training.
This goes back to, there's the level of training that you have when I was a beat cop. Then there's a level of training you get when you're on a tactical team. Completely different set of training, completely different mentality of the warrior that's in the uniform. And you got to remember, the use of force that we're given is you're not told to, just go and kill the threat. You're supposed to use the force reasonable to deal with the threat. And so in this situation, again, we haven't seen the video of the actual takedown portion of this, but if they were able to address a threat without filling them with holes, then you're good. You're solid with that. That's the goal. The goal is not to kill people. That's the level of authority you're given should the threat bring it to that situation. But the goal is to end this threat, with the least amount of force necessary. And in this case, that's the situation. I want people to recognize, and here's the last thing that I'll say, and then I'll answer any questions you have, and then we can move into your portion of it, is when people are saying, well, look at the distance he was able to clear. Anybody in here that's prior law enforcement, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, they've actually updated the number. I believe it's to either 28 or 32 feet. But the number I'm going to reference is the one that I was trained with all the years. It's 21 feet. And there's a thing known as it's perception reaction. Mm-hmm. And so when you realize that there's a threat, whether it's visually or, through your earpiece or someone shouting that there's a threat, there's a chain of things that have to happen. That information has to cycle into your brain. Your brain has to interpret that information as a threat. And then your brain has to communicate that back to your extremities on how you're going to deal with that threat. All that stuff takes time, depending on your level of experience and whether you've been there before or not will dictate how long that takes. It could be something as quick as 1.5 seconds. It could be something that takes up to 3 or 4 seconds. Everybody's different. These guys obviously show they're pretty fast on it. But that the 21-foot rule is just to put this into people's perspective. If I'm standing straight up in uniform and my gun's in the holster and there's a bad guy standing 21 feet away from me and he has a knife in his hand, 21 feet, everybody get that visual in your head. If he starts to charge me at 21 feet with a knife in his hand, he will have stabbed me before I even get my gun out to do that first bullet. It's known as the 21-foot rule. And see, I see a lot of people that are familiar with this, and that, I'm happy for that. So you guys can verify the information I'm saying. So that's the distance somebody can close when you've already seen the threat. So just put that into your mind. The other thing I keep hearing from people is, well, to assemble the gun and to do this, it's not long. If it is a long rifle, you got a couple of push pins, that breaks that thing in half and you put them together. It doesn't take very long. at all.
Yeah, it was like a backpack rifle that you could you can put together. So like an AR-9 or something like that you can put together.
Well,
I don't know if it was a 22 or whatnot.
Is interpreting what a witness considers. Oh, he was putting it together. That could be somebody he could just be undoing a folding stock.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of speculation right now, and here's one of the biggest parts of all of this: we don't know. There has been very, very little information released about all of this. Now, people are asking, why was JD Vance rushed out before President Trump? Did anybody hear that what Trump gave out for his answer today on 60 Minutes?
I didn't, but I'm willing to give my assessment of that.
Well, hold on. Let me tell you before. Secret Service tried to grab Trump, and he said, "Hold on, I want to see what happens."
Dude's got balls still, bro.
He goes, "Hold on, I want to see what happens," and they're trying to rush him out there. He's like, "No, I want to see what happens." So, and by the way, there's a picture of all the people in the ballroom. They're all getting down, and in the backdrop is Trump looking at them from the curtains.
The other thing people have to recognize too is, JD Vance, his extraction team has one way of working. The president, in an immediate threat situation like that, you can't move him until he's got 360 degrees of coverage.
Correct. Yeah.
I'll put an asterisk because there's always the anomaly, but he has to have bodies all around him when they move him. When you saw when they moved JD Vance, that wasn't the case. But, they have to make this human shield around the president. So if there is a second person or the threat hasn't been dealt with, those Secret Service men are the ones that will take the bullet so the president doesn't have to.
Yeah. And then, there's a lot of talk on there. I mean, the symbolism behind this information. I saw one post that someone commented on. They said, this was absolutely a psyop, that the comms are all surrounding it, and you need to go watch so-and-so's podcast. No, I don't need to go watch anybody's podcast on this. I'm on X, and I can watch everything that people are saying. And one of the things that I do is I try to rationally break down things before I delve into the realm of conspiracy. And this is one thing that we have to understand, is not everything in the world is a psyop. Okay.
And before you go down that, I just have one more thing, and then it's all yours. A lot of people saying, well, people didn't even hear the gunshots. Again, how many gun shootings have you investigated? I've investigated murders, drive-by shootings, where there's a birthday party in the backyard, people in the front yard, and the people in the backyard don't even hear the shooting sometimes. People's reaction is going to be dependent on whatever their individual circumstances were. Were they in a conversation? Were they distracted? Did they hear something, not just recognize it as gunshots? You'd be surprised how many phone calls you get from people that are reporting gunfire and it's firecrackers, and vice versa. How many people are reporting fireworks and it's gunshots? So I'm going to play this video for you, and I want you guys to listen to it, and then I'll give you my comment to it. Let me make sure the volume's up. There we go. Here we go. And so what you heard there, that boom, 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 those were gunshots, folks. Absolutely. I know that
in a crowded ballroom with hundreds of people talking and music in the backdrop. Right.
And here's one of the reasons that I also know that it's gunfire, because I know what gunfire sounds like inside of a building. So I know what gunfire sounds outside of a building. I know what gunfire sounds like inside of a building that's occupied, inside of a building that's vacant. All of them have very distinct sounds. And I'm telling you, with my authority and experience from my background, absolute gunfire. On top of that, I also know someone, I'm not going to dox them. Maybe they were former law enforcement. Maybe they were former military. Maybe they were both, who was in that AO that confirmed absolutely gunshots. But I don't even need that confirmation to understand that those were absolutely gunshots.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of people saying, well, there's, I see, that badass old dude that's just like, he's still eating peanuts towards the end. Dude's badass. But here's the thing. That's not unusual behavior, folks. All these people saying this is unusual. What are you basing that off of? Because if you don't have the background of investigating shootings, you're talking out of your ass.
Well, I wouldn't be so harsh. Is I can tell you what people are basing it off of, right?
What they've seen in movies, what they think people are.
No. They're basing it off of what other people are saying. So this delves into the idea of the influencer and social influencer community, right? And people see other people doing podcasts on this and talking about this and bringing in all of the various different correlations and all the things about this. And they build what's called a framework. And within this framework, you can kind of attribute various different things in there to go towards the shooter, to go towards Trump and the ballroom. And you can model the narrative really any way you want. It's called constructive narrative framing. Okay. Now, what people are basing it off of is I've watched 5 different podcasts today, and they all said, Alpha, that this was absolutely staged, that those weren't gunshots, that Trump did this just so he could get a ballroom. I'm going to say that,
and they got zero experience,
right? Well, and here's the thing: is they're basing their opinion on what they've observed from other people that they trust in the influence community. And this is one of the things that we always talk about here in the context of information warfare, disinformation, psychological warfare, psyop, psyx, right? And it even goes to the person saying, this was a psyop. Like, what do you, someone said earlier, it's like, this is a psyop. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean it's a psyop? Like, how? Because Trump wants a ballroom? Like, you don't formulate this type of event for an assassination attempt with a guy running who's going to spend the rest of his life in jail to get a ballroom. I mean, I'm sorry, but things don't work that way.
I think people are confusing things as well. And somebody said he wasn't in the ballroom. Never said he was in the ballroom. Doesn't have to be in the ballroom to hear the gunshots. The gunshots could have been outside the building, and depending where you're at, you could have heard them outside the building. It just has to deal with the level of experience that people know and whether to recognize it. You can have people that have spent their entire lives shooting, but if they've never shot indoors, they still might not recognize that sound. But anyways, like I said, absolutely gunshots. And that's, those
and you have 4 layers of, for everybody out there, you have 4 layers of security. So you have the external perimeter security, you have the internal checkpoint where everybody goes through, shows their tickets to go through the magnetometers. Then you have door security for the actual ballroom. You have to go through again through Secret Service, and then you have front row Secret Service and U.S. Marshals in and around. So you have 4 levels of security. That guy would have never have made it to the stage or even close. He probably wouldn't have got to the doors. He would have been dead. But I want people to see this part right here, okay? Is when we start talking about false flag operations, there is a pattern to how they operate. For example, when we start to look at how false flag operations operate in the United States that are typically ran by our government, notice one thing is there's always preemptive FBI contact with these individuals. FBI makes contact, talks with them. There's a track record of these people being brought into the police station or psych wards or hospitals, of institutionalization. Not only that, is typically what happens is the FBI actually sets them up for some type of event and then goes in and arrests them before it actually happens. These are the types of things that I call false flag events. But I want people to understand this one. There's people in this country that absolutely hate Donald Trump because of the psychological warfare played on them by the left, by the fake news, by the globalists, by the constructive narrative that has came about. And that can cause people to go absolutely insane and actually seek martyrdom from that. Now, here's the thing. Is if you look at Crooks, or if you look at the other guy there at Mar-a-Lago, there is a correlative pattern behind those 2 shooters. I don't think that those were false flags. I think that those were intelligence agency operated, foreign intelligence agency operated, because you have the connections to Ukraine, foreign countries. You have each one of them that has the Crooks had the clean room. They're both snipers. They're both waiting. They both had inside information of where the target would be. This is different than what just happened. And like I said, every time that I see an event like this happen and people immediately delve into the realm of like it's fake, or it was staged, or this is a psyop, or he was he was working for an agency, I say step back. We don't know everything yet. Let's wait until more information comes out. And then, but let's look at what we know. And what we know is, and I'll tell you, because everybody's been posting this guy's information all over the place. 2014, he did an internship at NASA for JPL. Okay. An internship at NASA JPL does not mean you worked at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And anybody ever been to the JPL campus out there? It's not just like one building where everybody's like, hey, man, how you doing? It is multiple different facilities, multiple different scientific ventures that go on there. And I saw some people making a correlation between JPL, the time that he worked at JPL as an intern, and the correlation between his research or what he was developing, a computer program, and some of the missing dead scientists. And I said, well, hold on a second here. You're talking about an astrophysicist and you're talking about a computer scientist. They are not working in the same facility. They're not working in the same laboratory. Not only that, he's an intern. An internship for his master's degree, he has to go in and do, I think it's an hour a week. Okay, an hour a week at JPL. And basically, it's just like an orientation. You go walk around with a scientist for a little while. You see what they do. You help them write a few bits of code and you get your paper signed off and you go back. It's not like he was working there 40 hours a week. And we have to start thinking like this when we start to see these things. Then he gets his master's degree. He goes out there. And this guy was a failure in life. For people that don't understand this, he's like 30-something years old and lives with his freaking parents in their basement. He works for an online ACT, SAT prep company because he couldn't get a real job in the real world, right? Your typical lefty. 30-something years old, still lives with his parents. Now, there was something interesting that happened. You have a X post out there from 2023 that has a Pepe figure, right? A Pepe figure in it. And people are starting to correlate this to some grand conspiracy. Well, like I said, I hold off on this until I kind of know more information. And what we're talking about here is this Henry Martinez post. And I'll give the breakdown of this because I've been following this pretty structured today. And I think I probably have one of the best theories out there. And that's not because I'm just biased towards myself, but because I look at Occam's razor. When we look at all various different possibilities, the simplest possibility is almost always the right one. So this is the post right here. Henry Martinez joined December 2023. In that time of December 2023, he posts one post, Cole Allen, right? Cole Allen. And that was 12/21/2023. Now, this is a month after Trump announced his candidacy for president. He puts Pepe in there and he puts this image up from the Wayback Machine, right? Wayback Machine's an internet search engine that you can go back and you can look at the past in the internet of what websites used to be. Now, a lot of people are like, well, you know, this person is prophetic or predictive. How did this one person know this, right? And they're like, oh, time travel and all this stuff. Before you go down any of those routes, why don't we look at the very, very simplest explanation possible? Now, people have done some research. What they found out is that in 2014 at NASA's JPL, the same one that was associated with Cal Berkeley that this guy was at, there was a scientist there by the name of Henry Martinez. By the way, the name Henry Martinez is not a very rare name. It's a common name, okay? But Henry Martinez was a scientist at JPL and published a lot of papers, okay? So imagine you're a grad student at JPL in 2014 or at Cal Berkeley in 2014. You probably know of Henry Martinez. You probably looked at some of his research. So you're aware of this name, okay? Now, let's assume that you're some crazed lefty lunatic and you want to try to martyr yourself by taking out the president, but you're going to write a manifesto. And we know the manifesto is actually out there. You write a manifesto of the why. You want to be remembered because one thing that people should already know is that Cole Allen went into this not believing he was going to come out alive. He knew that if he walked in those doors, he was most likely going to be shot and killed. Okay. So he was trying to martyr himself. He had a manifesto. He laid it all out. Trump is evil, pedophile, all this stuff, typical lefty jargon. And he was trying to do the world something good. He wanted to be remembered. So now let's go back to this. Alpha. The FBI has came out and said that he bought his guns over a 5-year period. So he bought handguns and rifles over a 5-year period. Now, he doesn't seem to be an active shooter. He doesn't seem to be a gun advocate at all. So if someone was buying over the last 5 years, does that indicate maybe that since this event has happened now, we can look at that as kind of preemptive planning for this event?
It would lead, if I was able to look into his history and I didn't see anything that showed that he was an avid shooter or someone that loved the Second Amendment, I would probably bring that to the conclusion of he didn't want to trigger an alert by buying too many guns at once. So he wanted to spread that purchase of weapons over a series of time so he wouldn't get on the radar of an investigative agency.
Exactly. So we find that out today. Now, let's assume Donald Trump announced his candidacy in November of 2023. This is less than a month later after Donald Trump announces his presidency. Now, you're Cole Allen. You're sitting in California. You can't stand Donald Trump. You got Trump derangement syndrome. You are completely brainwashed by the left media. And over the past years, you said, if this guy ever gets back in office, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, right? And so what do? Well, I want to be remembered for something. Right? These people lefties are huge narcissists. He wants to be remembered.
This is the issue with publishing those manifestos.
That's right. So what does he do? He finds out on the right, there's a group of people known as Anons who love the who dig and research and really kind of find the truth in it. And what they do is they make things go viral. They make research go viral. And their mascot is Pepe. So you go out there and you create an account. Cole Allen. So let me ask you this. Who's the one person in 2023, assuming that knew Cole Allen was going to probably do what he did the other day?
Cole Allen.
Cole Allen. Cole Allen. So what if this was just Cole Allen, who uses a pseudonym of a professor that he knew from Cal Berkeley that worked for JPL during his internship? Completely to him, it's not connected him in any way. Goes out there, creates this account, does one post because he knows that, hey, when I do this, if Trump does win the presidency and I do this, then these Anon people will go out there and they will make my manifesto known, because they do that with all the shooters, and they absolutely do. So let's use Occam's razor here. Is it more conducive that this is some time traveler, prophetic Anon named Henry Martinez that has associations with JPL the same time that this guy was at JPL? Is this some super secret clandestine operation to just put the guy's name out there 3 years before the event ever happens, having absolutely no purpose whatsoever? Or maybe, just maybe, Cole Allen went out there 3 years ago, created the damn account himself, posted his own fucking name into social media a month after Trump announced his candidacy for presidency, because he knew that eventually he was going to plan his plot to go out there and try to take out Trump. And if he died, martyred himself, he wanted his manifesto to be known. What's the most logical conclusion? And now, I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying that this is the most logical, rational conclusion that we can come up with the end of evidence at this time.
Here's the other thing that I'll tell people is the event doesn't have to be, just because you see a narrative that has hitched itself to an event doesn't mean that that event was done for that narrative. We're in the time of information war, good guys and bad guys. You've heard the bad guys always say, never let a good crisis go to waste. Well, that's going to be on both sides, folks. So when you see people pushing the narrative, well, now Trump and them are saying that they're going to use the ballroom. Well, why wouldn't they? That's a great argument. That doesn't mean that this event took place for that purpose. And I think people
does not equate correlation.
100%. 100%. And I think that's what people need to realize. Learn to separate that there's going to be narratives attached to all these events. False flag or legitimate, there's going to be narratives that are attached to them. You just can't. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, also, it's good to point out, because I know a lot of people are like, some people don't like what we're saying, and we preface our conversation with that. But here's the thing that I want all of them to understand. We live in the world of information and psychological warfare, okay? Our job, Alpha and I, what we are trained to do, what we have been researching and investigating for many years, is understanding this domain of warfare. And what we're telling you is the PSYOP is believing it's a conspiracy. 3 days ago, 2 days before the shooter did what he did, CNN posted something about the security, the lack of security at Trump's events. Right after the shooter did what he did and was taken down by Secret Service, CNN posted an article saying that Trump staged the event. CNN posted that Trump staged the event. You have big influencers on the left coming out saying it's fake, that Trump staged this event to get a ballroom. And guess what you have? You have that same deviation of social media influencers on X that are all about, all about what Alpha talks about, the Candace Tucker types. They're all like, oh, this was fake. This was absolutely staged. Trump staged this. Guys, if you're going to stage something like this, let's logically look at this, right? If you're going to stage something like this, okay? Number one, ensure that the shooter is dead, because that guy's going to talk because he doesn't want to go to prison for the rest of his life. Because if he was hired or if he was activated through MK Ultra and then organized to be at that event and did what he did, and this is all staged, you're talking about hundreds of people involved in that operation that brings that guy there just to get a ballroom built. Yeah, I'm sorry, but the benefit does not outweigh the type of event and the catastrophe that could have came from that. And the thing that Trump would do that, I just don't see it.
Well, especially when the ballroom's going to get built anyways, folks. If you guys, for those that watch my show that I do, at the conversation that the ballroom was coming and they identified the team that was going to be, doing the foundation, the digging, I dug into it and I was just like, man, this team has to do with coring back in the days. And I had already told everybody, I'm very interested on actually what's going to be under this ballroom. The video's out there. Some of you that seen it will know that I'm the truth on this. So this ballroom's, listen, Trump doesn't need this event to build the ballroom, folks. The ballroom's going to get built.
Yeah. By the way, the injunction that came on the ballroom, it's Alpha, just real quick. The injunction that came on the ballroom from the judge, the federal district judge, the construction underneath is good to go. The underneath construction is still moving forth. And so what Alpha is saying logically is, do you think they're just going to leave a blank part of the East Wing just sitting there?
No, it's not. Here's the question. And Bull Scout, I don't know if you're being serious or facetious, but he says, I have a question for Alpha. What happens if the shooter ran in with grenades and threw these grenades? Then what? Now, I'm actually glad, Bull Scout, that you put this question, because again, this is a movie problem. If anyone who's ever handled a real grenade and thrown it, these things are fucking heavy. A grenade is the most and I've shared this story on SitRep before. A grenade was the most disappointing weapon system that I ever got to use in my career, because I remember watching Chuck Norris and Rambo and Delta Force. You throw a grenade and the blast and everything. There's this big explosion. And I remember they go and they give me one. This is after lots of training. And I'm holding this thing. I'm like, damn, this is like shot put is what it is. I should a little bit lighter than that, but it's heavy. Then you got to go through a system of things to do to throw one grenade. There's a systems of safeties that are there. I'm not going to talk about them on a live show, but there's a series of things that you do before you can actually throw it. And then you throw it. And again, like I said, it's heavy. So it's not like it's going to go very far. And then it explodes and it literally just looks like a big thing of pepper exploded in the air, right? With some sound that's to it. That's a grenade. So to answer your question, what happens if a shooter ran in to threw a bunch of grenades? Well, if he had a bunch and he started doing the mechanisms and dropping the spoons, they would blow up on him. So he's not going to be able to do a bunch at once. But let's just say he had 2 or 3 in his hand, because I think realistically you could carry 2, 3, maybe 4 if he's a big dude, in 2 in each hand. And he's going to have to do them one at a time. So even if he goes and he removes some of the safety elements that are there, so there's only one safety left that he has to do. Again, I'm not going to go into the details of that stuff. Even if he did something to do that, because we all know about combat ready grenades, right? We've all trained with that. So even if he had combat ready grenades, there's really not a whole lot you could do to stop him from throwing that first one on an exterior perimeter. However, I guarantee you, when you're dealing with the U.S. Marshals, the Secret Service, or people that are, have a more elite training than just regular law enforcement, he'll be dead before he gets to the second grenade. And that's the way these systems are designed. You can't really ever stop the attempt. You can deter it, but if somebody has it in their mind that they're going to attempt to do something, there's nothing you can do to stop it.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure they fail.
And you can tell that this guy was absolutely an idiot. and never watched any Chuck Norris movies or Seagal movies or any of the Mission Impossibles, because, I mean, just saying, Alpha, if he had that access, he was staying in the hotel, he went through other ballrooms to get to where he was. You use smoke grenades, boom, 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 boom. 3 or 4 smoke grenades would have filled up that whole area. You map out your trail of where you're running to, straight to the ballroom door. He would have made it into those doors if he did that. He's an idiot. Good. He's
I'm
going to jail for life.
I'm not going to go into what he should have did if he was a guy. But the main point I wanted to make, and then there's 3 drops that I want to bring up. I found these last night. And I was like, I want to bring these to Josh's attention, see if maybe there's some context or relevance. Maybe there's not.
Sure.
But I wanted to make sure that we address this, because it's easy to get sucked into what all these people are saying. And what I'm telling you, folks, is I'm speaking from someone who's reviewed shootings on CCTV more hours than I can probably even add up to. I've actually investigated these things. I've been involved in these types of shootings. Like this is my wheelhouse of experience. And the main thing I wanted is it is an absolute, this is my opinion, it's going to piss some people off too, and it is what it is. It is a disrespect to call the event, and now people have freedom of speech, so I'm not saying people can't say this. They absolutely can. I'm just saying I have the ability to say it too. It is absolutely a cheap shot and disrespect to call this event fake when you don't have the background to articulate that. When you have men that put themselves in the line of protecting, whether you like the media people in there or not, there's probably a lot of people we didn't like, but you have the president and a bunch of other, important people within our administration that were in that event. And these guys did the job to perfection. And to call it fake when you don't have the experience, the background, the understanding of that, it's completely disrespectful. It'd be like me seeing something, a news release of a doctor doing some surgery, and I'm like, that doesn't look like what I saw in Grey's Anatomy. That's fake, right? But sorry, Grey's Anatomy doesn't dictate experience or knowledge. And there's a lot of people out there that's doing it. And like I said, this one, given my background, was something that meant a lot to me. And I wanted to make sure that I at least was able to put my perspective out there along with yours. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that. If not, then I'll bring up those 3 posts to show you, Josh.
No, I think the one thing that I'll say is that we will know a lot more this next week. And before we jump to any conclusions about what this was or anything like PSYOP, conspiracy, any of this, wait till more information comes out. This is what happened when we talked about Charlie Kirk. We waited until more information came out. We didn't just jump on the constructed narrative that was forming on social media. And so this is what I urge people to also do, is just, hey, have your opinions, have your thoughts about it, but don't say it as a statement of fact. Don't allow perception is belief. Remember, perception is belief. Don't think that just because some social influencers are saying that this is what it is means that is what it is. Let's wait for more information to come out, and then we can truly construct what happened.
Yeah, let me address. This is what I'm talking about. Shout out to Amy thinks too much. Amy, you're thinking too much. You both are blowing past facts that we saw that are impossible, difficult to justify. Name one.
Which facts?
Name one. Name one fact that we can. Now, if you don't like what I'm saying, then bring the counter argument to it, and I'll hear your counter argument, and then I'll ask you, what experience are you basing that off of?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to know, what she's actually talking about there. Maybe there's some things that I'm missing, right? Maybe there's some things I haven't seen yet. And Amy, what are the facts that you say we're blowing past? And please post them, because we will go through.
You're not going to hurt our feelings. No.
I mean, if we're wrong, we're wrong. We'll correct ourselves, absolutely. But I'd love to know which facts those are.
So I'll bring up, like I said, if people want to argue motive and speculate to motive, you can do it all day. We're not going to know motive until he tells us, if he tells us, or the manifesto has definitely hinted at that. And if people want to argue whether the manifesto is real or not, I can understand that too. But what I'm saying,
the IDF T-shirt is real.
Is it? I've heard both. Is. Okay.
I've heard that it was absolutely real, and that people are changing it to the Pakistan one, right? But I heard that the IDF one is real, And that's kind of interesting. Yeah, like, could I see Netanyahu doing? Oh yeah, absolutely. He has a lot to gain if that was successful. But if he wanted to be successful, then why did he send an idiot? Like, that's my problem with foreign intelligence using operatives through MK Ultra to go do a job. The guy was incompetent to even do the job, right?
And
Like,
and all I'll say is to somebody in the chat that said somebody else said on this date that this would happen. Listen, when you're saying scare event necessary every month, eventually something's going to happen. Then you can make it relevant to the post you said about a scare event.
but we just went over about how the person said Cole Allen, and nobody said this was going to happen.
No, so somebody in the chat that was talking about another group of people, and like I said, I'm not going to dog on people, but what I'm going to say is, if you want me to believe that somebody foretold this event, then show me information where somebody put out, hey, at the media banquet when Trump's going to roast everybody, there's going to be a lone wolf or something that capacity that's going to break the event to do a shooting or an attempt assassination on Trump. Show me some specific language, and I'll be like, damn, those people called it. If you're just going to say scare event necessary, go on any social media and tag in scare event necessary, and you're going to see about 1,000 posts that pop up.
Now, I want to show this because this is actually fucking classic. You know who Stephen Miller is, right?
I do.
Stephen Miller and his wife leaving, right? Getting escorted out by Secret Service right there, right? And they're in fear. Look at them. They're like, oh shit, we got to get out. Look at the curtain right there. Look in the back of the curtain between the white and the blue curtain.
Is that the boss?
That's Trump. But people are like, see, it was staged. No, Trump is literally has Secret Service sitting right there telling him he's been cuffed. He's down. We're just going to get all the high VIPs home. We're going to get him out of here. And by this time, Trump has all the information he needs. So he's just watching.
And this is the other thing that people don't understand. In those guys' earpieces, especially with the Secret Service and the tactical operators that are out there, it's all the information that none of the people on the floor are hearing. They're already hearing one suspect breach, hallway A, B, C, corner, 2-3 corner, 3-4 corner, everything's secured. These guys already know, because if there is an active threat that exists, they're gonna move the president from that. So if they're allowing the president to stay there and look, it's because they're already comfortable with the fact that it's there. Let me see someone. I'm trying to catch it. Z Mania says, Alpha, here, let me bring it up so everybody can see. Alpha, you can't deny that this investigation wasn't by the book. This was a GD crime scene. All phones confiscated, total control of photographs, etc. You can't deny that this investigation wasn't by the book.
Well, the investigation just started.
Yeah, that's I'm curious. I don't remember saying that this investigation wasn't by the book. And I'm, like I said, I'm not making comments to the investigation. I'm making comments to the CCT footage that people are saying that that's evidence that this is fake, and to the fact that people say that there was no gunshots. Those are the two specific things that I'm arguing. That's why when someone says you're not addressing the facts, those are the facts. But anyways, let me bring up these posts, and then you can tell me if these have relevance. So this first one, given that yesterday was the 25th, this is post 3322 for those that want to reference it. This one's kind of easy. This is kind of like scare event necessary. You can make it relevant wherever you want. But it says stay tuned. And the only reason this one caught my attention last night was because everybody was like, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? The few people that messaged me last night saying, hey, is it going to happen? I said, no, it's going to be a crime scene. So there's the event's not going to happen. I go, they're going to let Trump get out that messaging so he can, his bravado, right? Yeah, you want to go back. He's a badass, but it was never going to happen because it's a crime scene. So I don't know if you want to comment to that one. That was kind of generic.
Yeah, I think it's very generic, and it's really referencing the article right there of whatever that was.
All right, next one is post 1271. This is April 25th of 2018. And it says right here, note 187. Now, had this been a successful assassination, I think that this is a post that would have had huge significance, being that 187 is the penal code for murder, homicide. So this one kind of caught my mind for that particular reason. Obviously in the post, it shows happened, not public, debate how to handle, buying time, toxic, dangerous, and threats. Now, some of those you could have made them fit last night. The whole thing of, is it going? Is it not going? Is it going? Is it not going? Trump's going to address the public in 30 minutes or so. I could see that as a buying time. Dangers and threats, I can see how those can kind of get in there. But to me, this one is, had something actually happen, I think this would have been a bigger deal. Or even if the suspect would have died, I think this one probably would have more relevance. I don't know if there's anything you want to share to this one.
No, I mean, I think that this was a completely unplanned, not completely random. This dude never told anybody. I honestly believe that. I think that he planned this all in his head, which means that it would not be within the presumptive playbook that we know of.
All right. And then the last one I got for you is this one. This is post 1270, April 25th, 2018. Obviously, there's an old Twitter screenshot from Sarah Carter. Waiting. Everyone is. We'll let you know as soon as it happens. When. Kind of interesting given the media thing.
Yeah.
But this was just the one that was in the one that we were talking about, right before this. But I just wanted to show it because it had the Sarah Carter saying, waiting. Everyone is. We'll let you know as soon as it happens. I don't know. Maybe something, maybe nothing. I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Yeah. I mean, if there is some correlatory nature there, I'm just not. I mean, I love the boards. I use the boards all the time. I don't see it with this one. Like if you go back to with the Whidbey Island incident, that I can sit there and I can track the boards before, during, and after of what was happening, right? Like you can see it because that was a military operation. But there was a Q post that just came out the other day. Well, not a Q post that came out, but a Scavino post that came out. Dan Scavino. John Brennan, a reminder to federal officials, there is no limit to the number of individuals who can use the whistleblower statute. If you think you were involved in unlawful activity as a result of direct from Mr. Trump or someone doing his bidding, now is the time to report it. September 28th, 2019. September 28th, 2019, right? Well, Scavino posts a man throwing a boomerang, right? Well, if anybody remembers, Q 3473, the biggest scandal in American history, treason, 2019, the year of the boomerang. People are like, yeah, but it's 2026, Josh. And I'm like, yes, you're absolutely right. But look at the boomerang. It was thrown in 2019, John Brennan's post, and it's coming back in 2026 to hit him in the face. That's how they work, right? Like
I like it. I like it. Shout out Rude Dog 68, just became a monthly supporter. Welcome to the Badlands family over there, Rude Dog. Well,
all right. And do we have any of the facts that we missed come in? I'm always curious what that person.
I was trying to keep an eye out for it. I didn't see.
If anybody sees them, let me know. And if there's things that we missed,
definitely don't.
That person. I mean, and I'm not trying to like patronize anybody. I seriously want to know if there's things that people are saying on other shows that are like factual that is put out by law. I want to know what it is so I can kind of have more information.
Here's the thing, and accuracy matters. And some people say, "Well, it sounds like ego." Well, maybe it is a little bit of that too. But it doesn't change that the information's accurate. You remember when everybody was saying, "Oh, Erica Kirk lied about going to Georgia because the Secret Service said that she was lying"? I immediately came out and told everybody, one, threat assessments are different. I'm not going to go into that whole argument, but I said what you're going to find out is that threat was going to have something to do on the travels to there or the travels away from there. And then sure enough, I think it was the next day or the following day after that, I think it was Colbert that came out and said, the threat assessment was in her travels.
Yeah.
This is not insider knowledge. This is just when you have this experience for a decade and a half of doing it and doing operational plannings like that, you just see it differently. Just like, people in here that are a teacher, there's certain things that they would recognize that we wouldn't. A plumber, a construction worker. When you spend a majority of your life working in a certain field, you develop a level of experience that other people are not going to be able to see it the way you do until you articulate it to them so that they can understand that. And it's every field out there. I won't say everyone, but the majority of fields where, professionals are involved in some capacity, you're going to have that. So
yeah. And let me bring up this one because I know people are saying this.
this
it was pre-planned. It was pre-planned, but I'm going to point out something here. Okay.
It was roast. It's not an uncommon statement.
Right. Well, let me get into that part and let me help people kind of maybe in understanding this.
It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone.
Now, it's the White House Correspondents press dinner. Okay. This is where you get up and you roast each other. Now, if this is a one-off, that was like, predictive programming, go back to every single White House Correspondents dinner press conference and look at all of the pre-interviews and ever see if the words shots fired are ever used. Because guess what? They are.
I know.
Used all the time. So this is not abnormal talk for that type of event. If this was like, Trump going to talk to the workers.
State of the Union.
Yeah. If this is the State of the Union address and they're like, shots are going to be fired. Then I'm like, whoa, okay, hold on. We need to look at this. But we have to draw in the context of everything. And look, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm not trying to black pill people here. I'm not trying to black people, but not everything is a psyop or conspiracy theory. And sometimes we have to look at, like, this was just some crazy leftist that really wanted to do this, and he got caught. And he's lucky he didn't lose his life because he almost did.
Well, here's the thing, and I've shared this with my audience, and this is, people say, why do you spend so much time, going after people like Tucker or Candace or Ian Carroll or these other people? And here's the reason. And I'm sure you've experienced it. Anybody in here that has, a smaller, medium-sized podcast to bigger, I know for a fact has experienced this. You have the emails and messages that come in from people that are, off the wall. You're like, you're a little weird. I love you, but you're a little weird. And then you have the messages that come in and you're just like, this person's out of their fucking mind. Like, this person's crazy. Like, I hope this person never finds out where I live because they're absolutely insane. And I'm not talking threats, right? Because I wish I would, right? When it's that. No, I'm talking like the crazies. Well, here's the thing. If we have those kind of people at our smaller size of podcasts, what do you think the numbers increase exponentially when you have a podcast where you have millions of followers like Candace or millions of followers like Tucker? Well, they know. If I know this, they know this. They know that there is a small percentage of that small percentage of people that are absolutely nuts, that they're sitting there watching everything they say and they're thinking, you know what? I'll go do it. I'll go take out, I'm not going to say it. I ain't trying to trigger alarms. I'll do that because then Tucker will love me. He'll be my friend. Or Candace, they'll put me on the wall and they'll memorialize me. Like, there's people out there that are fucking nuts like that. And so when you start to push rhetoric, like the president's out there protecting pedophiles, when you put rhetoric out there that the president's out there, RAP, doing that, make sure we survive on YouTube to people, there are crazies out there that are going to look at that and they're prepared to be a martyr. And they're going to go out and do exactly what Josh articulated. And that's why I call these people out. There's a thing called freedom of speech. And then there's a thing of, taking advantage of that small percentage that exists in your base because you know that they're going to do something stupid.
100%, man. Spot on. And going into the influencers, don't you find it highly coincidental that Ian Carroll, Tucker Carlson, and Candace Owens all took the last week off of their shows directly after the SPLC indictment came out? And then, a day before the SPLC indictment, for anybody out there who didn't know this, Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, is resigning. And the day before that, Trump comes out and says, Tim Cook, great guy. He's going to be stepping down from Apple. I wish him the best of luck. Tim was there for me, all this stuff. Tim Cook resigns. And then the SPLC stuff comes out. And who was one of the top donors? Tim Cook. Kind of interesting. But what was the SPLC doing? Why? What maybe a connection to those influencers in the SPLC? Because from what I gather, they were funding radical groups on the left, and they were funding radical groups on the right, and then they were funding events that both of them would attend, hoping that things clash. But then on social media, the rumor is that they were funding leftist social media people and right social media people to basically draw in a division and separation within various different factions, like, let's just say, MAGA. And who has been the most concerning voices out there dividing and fracturing? MAGA. Ian, I look, Candace and Tucker. And what did Trump just do?
I'll rubber stamp that.
And what did Trump just say about Candace the other day?
You see the picture he put out?
Yeah. He put out a post about Candace, and he absolutely tore her a new one. Low IQ people. And I got it right here for people who want to see this.
That picture.
Like, people are like, I love Candace, you know? Like, okay, great. But at some point, you're going to realize that she's probably controlled by British intelligence, in my opinion.
If you love Candace and Tucker, you should absolutely support them by buying the low IQ hat. I 100% support that.
Candace owns stock, which was never very high, has fallen a long way. Her attack on the first Lady of France is despicable. I disagree with that, but I believe in this case, without verification, she's an extremely low IQ individual. And he posts this image. Vile person of the year.
Made her look like a New Jack City crack queen from the movie, bro.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
So, in I love it. He uses rich white men. And listen, I don't listen to Candace or anything like that. I don't even know the information she's putting out there anymore. But what I can tell you is that when you start to have division within a movement like MAGA that's been unified over the years through the thick of it, you have to look at the big influencers, because look at the name of it, influencers that are influencing that division. And then you have to listen to what they say. Now, does Israel have certain controls or influences in our government? Yeah, absolutely. It is something of concern. It's a concern to everybody. But then I want you to ask, I'll take the Laura Loomer perspective. Does Qatar have influences in Washington, D.C. and within Congress and Senate? Yeah, they absolutely do. Does China? Yeah. Senator Feinstein's freaking limo driver was a freaking Chinese spy. Eric Swalwell slept with one who was a lobbyist. Okay. Yeah, all of these countries have massive influence. Does Israel have more than others? Maybe. I think Israel does it differently. I think that they use AIPAC as kind of an intermediary for force and coercion, but I don't look at it as the country of Israel actually doing the lobbying. It's the Jewish mafia that's actually here in the United States of America. And by the way, just to point it out, the SPLC, for everybody out there, was started and owned by who? Lefty Jews. Just saying.
Now we're not going to get our shekels.
Now we're not going to get our shekels.
Shout out to CSUSB. Says, I hope this isn't pre-recorded. It's not. We see you.
And someone said, I can't believe that you don't know that they are part of the show. You know, I've kind of aligned with that as well, that Trump is using them. And I think that Trump is using that, whether they're part of it or not. I'm not completely out on it, that maybe Candace and Tucker and definitely not Ian. I think Ian is absolutely controlled ops. And Nick Fuentes absolutely controlled ops. But I think that Tucker and Candace, I think there's a good potential that they're maybe working with the Trump administration on the back end. But I would say that every day that's reduced in percentage.
Here's what I'll say, because I get this asked constantly in these virtual town halls. Alpha, what if you're, the way you're attacking Tucker and Candace and them, and I wouldn't call it attacking, I would call it more of exposing and clarity, because whatever. Here's what I'll say to that. If I'm wrong and they're playing a role, then all I have to do is apologize. Hey, you guys are playing a role. You did your job. And I did mine by trying to expose you guys. That's the worst case if I'm wrong. Now, let me ask you, what's the consequence if you're wrong? By saying that they're not bad guys because they're playing a role and they really are bad guys. You prevented bad guys from being exposed, which means that you aided them. You helped them. You provided them the cover that they needed to facilitate the narrative that they were trying to subvert this country, destroy our president, and worst case, worse. You know what I'm talking about. So that's what I say. When you're making any type of decision on how to gauge something, ask yourself, what's the consequence if I'm wrong with this choice.
Right.
Wow. That was fun. I enjoyed that. I have something, we have time because we're only at an hour and 20 minutes. I did a real short Substack today. If you don't have anything, I'd like to read it.
Oh, I got a ton of shit, but I mean, what do you want to talk about?
It's well, let's do this. Let's get to our last
There's
ad.
stuff okay, get to our last ad, and I got a few things that I want to talk about, and let me do that.
Do that, and we'll close out with what I got.
Okay,
I like that.
Transition, people. Transition. Number one is I just threw alphas and my links in the chat, so if you guys need them, they're right there where you guys can find us and go support our channels and everything like that. And then the black people who think we're black pilling you, please don't message us and send us nasty emails of how you hate us. But I'm just joking. But listen, transitioning content here for a second. We have Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, which is coming up to start dropping the hammer. The New York Times just put out an article. Todd Blanche targets Trump's enemies amid jockeying to lead the Justice Department. He's advancing the investigation into former Obama CIA Director John Brennan. That's happening right now. Joe DiGennaro is heading out there right now. He greenlit an inquiry into the J6 liar case, Cassidy Hutchinson. That's pretty huge. Planning to go after former FBI Director James Comey again, subpoenaing Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis bodyguard soon. Approved an inquiry into fraudulent Democrat fundraising platform Act Blue, and just indicted the Center on Poverty Law Center. That is 6 things in a week. That Todd Blanche has done as acting attorney general that Pam Bondi did not do for 14 months. That's huge, people. I want you to say that we are potentially going to be seeing. We got 4 days left at the end of the month. I think that we could see an indictment this week. Now, I know that the Florida grand jury is still going on and all that stuff. I think we're going to see an indictment this week. I'm praying 28th, I think, will be the indictment. I'm putting it out there. I'm not really predictive, but I'm going to put it out there.
Cinco de Mayo, baby.
Now,
Cinco de Mayo.
The FBI
I'm hoping.
Yeah, various different FOIA documents have confirmed that the FBI and the DOJ during the Biden administration uncovered a massive amount of 2020 election ballots that were fraudulent in Michigan. Over 100,000 plus ballot applications falsified at Governor Whitmer's election headquarters. And the DOJ and FBI covered up by passing it to another criminal who happened to be running the whole scandal. And then I got some crazy news in the context of UFOs and aliens and all that stuff. And it's just really quick with this. If anybody's been paying attention, we had Tim Burchett on the other day. Great conversation. We talked a little bit about
nailed it on the name. Nailed it.
I did. Burchett. I got it. I got it now. So, but Representative Burleson has also been very, very active on all this. Burleson has been on the podcast lately saying, I've received a briefing on a UAP with undeniable evidence. This is when the whole conversation changed. He said, there are so many people that witness these things, all credible people working on our top intelligence sector. He was briefed on an undeniable recent effort to summon UFOs by credible top intelligence officials. That's one. He came out again on another one that Eric Burleson confirmed on Benny that the U.S. military is in possession of an enormous UFO that is so big the Army built a base around it because they can't move it. Now, people have questioned and started wondering where this is. I will give you a hint on this. There's 2 of them. One's in South Korea, the other's in Oklahoma. And that's not classified. That's just what I've heard, and I think it's pretty public information now. But here's the key point. So last week or a few weeks ago, people are trying to get Tulsi Gabbard removed, right? Tulsi's going to resign. Oh my God, Tulsi's going to resign. Then the New York Times hit piece. Tulsi's going to be leaving before the midterms. Number one is your DNI does not leave right before the midterms. You understand how detrimental that is to the midterm elections, like a cabinet position leaving? It's completely insane. So this is fake news. But what happened this last week? Oh, Kash Patel. that Trump's going to fire Kash Patel. Well, here's the problem, people. Kash Patel is the director of the FBI. The director of the FBI is not a cabinet position. He works for the Attorney General of the Department of Justice. The Attorney General can fire him at the behest of President Trump. But there's no indication, and this is, I love how people say this. This is anonymous White House sources say. This is some CNN journalist inside the White House trying to get some preemptive planning for a story that they're about to publish, that are putting out there this nonsense. But going back to Burleson, that Representative Burleson and DNI Tulsi Gabbard were tasked by President Donald Trump. Now, you remember, J.D. Vance 2 weeks ago was on the podcast, and they asked him, "You gonna go to Area 51?" And he says, "No, I don't know. Maybe we'll go to Area 51." DNI Tulsi Gabbard and Representative Burleson were tasked by President Donald Trump. They flew into Nellis Air Base and then were flown into Area 51 and the various sector areas in there.
That's wild, bro.
Of the classified projects that they have going on out there. And this is pre-declassification, which is supposed to start any day now. So this is huge. And now, but I want to point out that Burleson is coming out and saying, comes back from Area 51 and goes, "We have a UFO that is so damn big they had to build a base around it. We have technology that
I didn't realize he made that statement.
Yeah. I got the clip right here.
He said that we have a UFO that's so big they had to build a base around it.
Here, how about this? I'll pull it up for you. You want to see it?
Dude, you know how many movie plots that is right there?
Yeah, I do. Hold on. Here we go.
Even the fact that you have a clearance and you have the ability to go into a skiff or the capacity to go and sit in classified settings and get briefed on what the federal government has as far as UFO evidence. You made a claim this weekend that I thought was remarkable, a craft too big to move. Can you unpack that for us?
I was told that in a skiff and also outside of one, that there is a craft at a location in a foreign country that is too big to move. They built a building around it. It's in a foreign country, and it is a U.S. installation. I can't say anything more than that.
It's on like.
Okay. Now, right at the beginning, look what it says right here. You see this? Secret site. And you see this big circular U.S. Army base that is in Seoul, South Korea. That's one of them.
I was
There's
thinking
another one. There's another one in Oklahoma. No, so, there's also some crazy conspiracy stuff coming out you just heard the reports today that they're saying that the U.S. went into North Korea and retrieved a UFO that was down there. And then another report is, and this was actually quite interesting. It was Dr. Michael Salla was saying it on Redacted, but I mean, Michael Salla, I think he's about 50-50 accurate, factual, like bullshit and disinformation. Maybe his sources are not the greatest, but this is something that I actually heard about 3 years ago from someone I'm very close with that has really good information. And they said that Iran had uncovered an archaeological dig site a decade ago. And that in this archaeological dig site, they basically made it classified, top secret, and they found some things in there of advanced ancient civilization. And that people are speculating now that this is what Trump's after. That Trump is going in there saying, "Hey, you got to give that shit up. You can't have that." And they're like, "No, we got the tech." They say so it's not, they're saying it's not about energy. It's about this tech that they have. And that whole area, the rumor is that this tech that they have, very similar to Iraq, is Stargate technology. And I'm going to say that.
We heard that about Iraq too, so I'm curious. I
That's
mean,
right.
Iraq and Iran aren't too far from each other. Was that technology moved from one location during the next, because of the wars? I mean, I don't know. That's wild, man.
And I'll bring up the greatest Q post, I think, out there. This is Q post 749, and I don't even know if Alpha's seen this one because he might shit himself after our OG conversation last week. Coincidence, the movie The Matrix grew people as a crop used for energy and controlled their mind. Sound familiar? Wonder where they derived that idea from. Now comes the conspiracy label. Deeper we go, the more unrealistic it all becomes. The end won't be for everyone. That choice to know will be yours. And I know where this is going, guys, is we're the remnants of an ancient civilization. Yeah.
Don't go.
But anyways.
Don't go there. No.
Oh, this was a good one. Russia scientists are developing the world's first drug to delay aging months after Putin discussed the drug at the AI conference. So here's a key thing. Last December, Russia put out and approved 2 mRNA therapies. Okay, they are mRNA therapies for cancer vaccines. Excuse me. Which, by the way, Alpha, I've looked up on this since that time. They've treated a massive amount of people, and it appears to be over a 50% success rate for people in stage 4 terminal cancer.
Damn, stage 4?
Yeah. So basically, they're giving the vaccine to people in stage 4, and 50% of them are living. So that's in Russia. So Russia is going to be releasing age extending technology. Now, I think Russia has been doing the same research that David Sinclair is doing, but they're going to market with it first. Now, the technology supposedly will help to advance people's lives to allow them to live to 150 years of age. That's what Russia's doing right now, people.
So, if Russia's got it.
Oh, we absolutely do. Now, and just a cockamamie idea, maybe we can talk about this Thursday night. This came across my desk today, and I was like, wait, what? Remember we were talking about Amy Eskridge and the P-49s and the P-51s, the time travelers that came from 50,000 years in the future came back here? Someone said, what if all the scientists that are dying were the time travelers? As in, they were here advancing our humanity into the future by basically giving us breakthrough tech, things that change their timeline in the future. And someone knows that and is here killing them. It's called the
War.
Traveler Wars. The Time Traveler Wars. And this is what people are talking about, the Time Traveler Wars. I think we need to do a show on this on Thursday night on the OG.
Dude, okay, because there's a clip. I'm going to write this down because me, I'll end up forgetting. So let me.
Time Traveler Wars.
Smash that thumb. Leave a comment, folks.
And we can go into the whole Ingersoll Lockwood. We can go into all of this. I would love to do that show.
Okay, I wrote down my notes so I don't forget because there's a clip from a movie that I want to show that is perfectly aligns with that conversation. Well, we got a significant amount of Rumble rent, so let's do this. I was looking at the Substack that I wanted to read, but I think it's more appropriate for DEF CON. So I'll save it for DEF CON because I think it fits more in line with that show. So I'll save it for Tuesday. So just a few more days, folks, and we'll go into that one. And then I'm going to do our last ad. And then when we come back from that, we'll get into the Rumble rants. Here we go.
In a quiet town where beards grow wild and lips dare to crack without permission, one woman has suffered.
Hi, I'm Margie, and I'm Jatriot's mother.
But the world would come to know her by another name, Madame Margie, the moistureless.
Jay came home with a lip balm. It's called Soft Disclosure.
With one miraculous application, her power awakened.
Within one day, my lips were healed. It was miraculous.
But salvation came at a cost. For in the shadowed lands known only as Badlands,
You boys at Badlands are so handsome.
she saw potential.
You're covering up your beautiful faces.
And she made her demand.
shave them all off,
or face the consequences. Beard oil will not save you now.
and you'll look so much better.
This summer, moisturize wisely and guard your beard, because Madame Margie, the moistureless, is always watching.
I can't wait to meet Margie. I'm gonna be like, but it's so soft.
That laugh and chuckle from Jadrian's mom at the end. It's just like, bro, that lady's gonna be awesome. I look forward to meeting her too. We got quite amount of Rumble Rant, so thank you guys for that.
And
Let me
Dead
bring
Rant-
this up on the screen, and I'll start from the bottom. $2 coming in from Daratar17. Happy to catch a live show.
Appreciate it.
$10 coming in from RPG3573. Don't be dissing Mountain Time. The Rockies are the greatest mountains in God's earth. Listen, I will acknowledge those are probably amongst the greatest mountains in God's earth.
Amongst them.
Yeah, I will concede that. But come on, man. Just pick one. Be Central, be Pacific. Pick one. I'm gonna get yelled at for that one by all the Mountain Standard people. $5 from Angie K. I think Benny or someone just posted the real video, which is clear. I will definitely take
that. Was AI. That was AI generated from the grainy video.
Gotcha. And like I said, I don't need the video to be any more clear than it is, because you can see their reactions. And that's pretty much the point that I was trying to articulate in that little debriefing. $10 coming in from Andy Pearson. Why did we have top 4 people, Trump included, in our presidential line in the same room? Trump's shown that he operates this way. He did it at Charlie Kirk's funeral. This is just, POTUS is confident in the circle that he has. And guess what? Their ability to stop the threat like they did last night is probably why he's so confident. $10 coming in again from Andy Pearson. Trump announced that he was going to the event late in the game. How did the shooter get a room in a hotel that was sold out way before that? I mean, it's calls for speculation. He could have bought his hotel a long time before. Who knows? It just, are they buying hotels at any potential event that Trump's going to go to? I mean, who knows? We don't have that information. So, I'd be calling for speculation on that, Andy. So, but I'm sure we'll get some more insights. $5 again from Andy Pearson. Never mind. Got my hotel answer in the chat. He. Well, share the answer with us. We'd all like to know the answer on that one. $25 from Texas Jules. We sincerely appreciate your background, knowledge, and experiences you both bring us at Badlands. It's invaluable. Thank you. And where are your BTF hats at? Right here.
Oh, mine's in my room. I wore it earlier.
So got it right there, Texas Jules. Again, shout out to Rudog68 becoming a monthly supporter. Thank you for joining the family. $25 coming in from CL Settle. When I go to Rumble, all I can see is past podcasts for Alpha and Red Pill. How do I get the current and live podcasts? Go to the premium, click on the Rumble premium up there, and that'll take you to the home screen of Rumble. And then when you're in that home screen, search out Red Pills, or search out, Alpha Warrior Show, and they'll populate. And you find the ones that have the green check, because there are people out there that are trying to impersonate our channels, but they don't have the green check. So when you do find us, that green check right there.
I just did that, and on all I see are people reposting my content. Sierra Delta, Red Pill the World. None of these are me. Type in Red Pill Project when you go in there, and you'll see an account coming up, matching channels. That should have a green check mark next to it. It says Red Pill Project with a picture of me that's like AI generated.
100%.
That's how you go there.
$10 coming in from Rudog68. Didn't just join the family, he threw us a Rumble Rant. Couple of Rude coins for Badlands, 2 handsome roosters, left field, multiple weapons, was multimedia casualties the real agenda? Well, I'll tell you what, those people in there that do the reports, it was, there were actually an event where something happened. It's just like, you're there. Why are you waiting for a script? Just report. But yeah, I get you on that one, Rudog. $100 coming in from Hope Continues. Big Benjamin, you two are the best out there. You don't jump the gun with theories, logical and thoughtful perspectives. Thank you for doing these shows, and thank you, Hope, for supporting us. I don't know if you want to say something to that, Josh.
Oh, no, appreciate you, Hope. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Dollar for dollar from G Fontes 119. I saw a test with drywall, gapped one by one, spaced like an average wall, using multiple guns and ammo from 308 to 50 cal, penetrating 318 board some distance away, and the 50 cal was not even the longest shot. Things get interesting, man. Even weather, whether it's cold or hot, plays into that stuff. It's as interesting as that is. Dollar for dollar from Rory McGill 78. Candace is the stepdaughter of an English lord. LOL. They're all connected to England or the CIA. All of them. Like how you think, Rory. Dollar for dollar from Dieter 17. Refuse the emotional hooks and choose to be free and harmonized. The mountain doesn't shake for the storm. I like that, especially the part at the end. The mountain doesn't shake for the storm. That is solid right there. I really like that. Shout out to ML Hayes, is now a monthly supporter. Thank you for that. Welcome to the family. Dollar for dollar, Rory McGill again. Josh, Dave Adair is someone to look into if you haven't already. But
I know Dave.
So in other words, that means he has to get Dave on Overwatching the Guardian with us.
Yeah.
$10 from Rudog68, dropping another Rumble rant. Josh, any knowledge on the Pine Gap, Australia?
No, not at the moment, but Pine Gap, Australia.
I've never even heard of it, so I'm going to leave that one on mark because I want to go back and look that up. $10 from 2812 VPJ. How in the F is this new Bob Lazar movie come out now? Josh?
Say that again. What was the question?
How in the F is this new Bob Lazar movie come out now?
It just came out. It's on you can get it on Amazon Prime. And you have to rent it. I think it's like $10 to rent, but I rented it and watched it. I thought it was pretty good.
I'll actually watch it tonight while I'm doing my prep for tomorrow and edits. $20 coming in from PS Farm Girl. Hey, check out the show, quote, The Way Home, regarding time travel. Not familiar with that one either, so I'll leave that one up so I can go back. Are you familiar with that one, Josh?
I am not.
Oh, there you go. $10 from Les Tone 69. Did you guys see after you had Tim Burchett on, they started bashing him as a turncoat and friends with MTG? I did not see that.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting on that one. Dollar for dollar from Crystal Loves David 17. In my honest opinion, the scientists are in the witness protection. Trump says we have to protect our geniuses.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah, I definitely see that as very plausible. $10 from PS Farm Girl. I defer to someone who knows about shooting and security before saying anything about the shooting. Well, there you go. That's a smart move there. And that is our last Rumble rant. Let me see if any super chats came in, and we did. We have 2, so let me get those up on the screen. Still bad too, $5. Loving you guys. I'm a regular watcher. Don't miss the show. Love you too, Still Bad. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. And we have another one right here. $2 coming in from Blue Eyed Bandit 17. Perhaps Cole Allen was captured with information.
Well, he definitely was captured now. So if it was a psyop, if it was a false flag, they got him. Now, if he dies mysteriously in police custody, then I'm going to start to ask questions. Then I'm going to start to go, okay, there's something else going on here.
If dude does the Jeffrey Epstein, yeah, I'm going to be like, hey, come on, bro. Come on. Yeah, I'm there. Josh, where can people find you? What time is your show tomorrow? Let everybody know.
Redpills.tv, redpills.tv. And my shows are 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. People can go out there and watch us there. And look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow night. Going to be one banger of a show. I think there's going to be a lot of good information coming out this week. So, and then the OG show Thursday, and then DEF CON on Tuesday. So, going to be one heck of a show. So, hope to see you guys there. And make sure you guys are over there. I wanted to put this out there. And I know that people, there's a lot of people that might look at this content and say, Josh, that's some evil stuff. And Look, I've been working in the realm of researching these types of things for a very, very long time. And I'm hosting a workshop on Saturday, May 2nd. And that is about the occult. It's called Demystifying the Occult, or this is actually called Modern Occultism. And I wanted to put it out there for all the Badlanders if they're interested in joining us over there. It's a workshop that they can join pretty easy. Really all you have to do is just go to redpills.tv and you can sign up. There is limited seating. So there is limited seating. So I want people to know that. But if you're like, what is the occult? How does this all work? Is it evil? Is it not evil? What is it all about? Mystery schools, alchemy, all this stuff. If you want explanations for all that stuff, this is what you want to be in. So I hope to see some of you guys there. Just go to redpills.tv, redpills.tv. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, no, sorry, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Not 7:30. My bad.
What time is that Mountain?
That's 6:30 Mountain.
See, so I don't want to get no hate mail from all you Mountain Standard Time people. I gave you guys a shout out. You guys can find me, alphawarrior.tv. You guys can catch me tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern or 7 Pacific. Do the math for everything in between. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Smash the thumb, hit the heart, leave a comment, and we'll see you guys on the leaderboard. Good night. Bye.